Hello and welcome back to Moffett Field. Today we're going to be covering the Battle for Bryansk Part 2. As you may have seen from the headlines, the Germany were unsuccessful in their attempt on Moscow. As you may remember from the previous video, the Russians were able to pin the Germans in Bryansk. They moved up from Volga, outbidding the Germans on the turn bid, that is, bidding more oil. They moved first into Bryansk and kept the Germans there and kept them from advancing. What we're looking at here is the pre-battle map as it stood before the rolling of the dice. And you can see the Russians grouped together on the south, the 26th, 21st, 58th, and the air forces of the Americans and the British. And north of them were the 72nd, 48th, and 56th with a German stack of fighters. This was turn 4 and was really a make or break for the Germans. If defeated here, the Russians are able to bring in the 74th sitting in Moscow. There's also a build there of several artillery and an infantry, and they would also be able to bring in the 13th Air Force from Volga. Those two units were misdirected last time and did not move. They should have moved into Bryansk, but did not. But they are available for reinforcement, whereas the Germans, their reinforcements are farther away, and if Germany did not roll well in this battle, it really wasn't worth continuing. So in this battle, the Allies started with 37 total units, the Axis with 32 total units. Coming up next, we'll take a look at the battle board setup, but first I want to draw your attention to another video I'm working on. It's an in-depth behind the Battle of Bryansk. It's going to cover the economics, unit distributions, and the dice value of the forces, and take a deeper look at what went on in the battle in terms of the losses, the total economic value of the units starting, and what the battle looked like at the end, and I think why the Axis player decided to call it quits. Now let's take a look at the different battle board setups for the Axis and then the Allies, and then we'll look at the combat resolutions. This is a look at the Axis board. They started with 10 fighters, 0 bombers, 9 infantry, 7 artillery, and 6 armor. You can see that the artillery are set up in the air attack column or row, which is interesting. In the next video that I do, the behind the scenes, I'll show you how that could have been a mistake, but probably didn't matter in the long run. Here's a snapshot of the Allied setup board with 14 fighters, 2 bombers, 10 infantry, 4 artillery, and 7 armor, with the majority of the fighters set up in the air-to-air column, and any remaining fighters beyond that 30 limit were set up in the ground section. Just another shot of the Allied board to show some perspective of the stacks. This is a shot of the Axis post-battle battle board. They ended up in the air combat with the loss of 5 fighters and no bombers because they didn't have any bombers. So they had a 50% loss rate on the fighters. Here is the Allies post air combat battle board. They lost 5 fighters and 1 bomber. On the fighters, that's a 36% loss rate compared to the Germans' 50% loss rate. A look at the German post-battle board for the ground forces. They had casualties of 4 infantry, 5 artillery, and 2 armor. This is the American post-ground battle board. The Americans incurred losses of 7 infantry, 4 artillery, and 1 armor. And finally, here's a shot of the pieces back on the board post-battle. The Allies incurred a total of 19 losses and the Axis a total of 16 losses. So that's a summation of the Battle for Bryansk. I hope you enjoyed the 2 videos, and I'll try to make more of these, try to get more videos. It's hard to make them during the game, but I'll try to take more photographs and videos along the way. And let me know if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions. And again, thanks for watching.